So today I'm going to make a video about repairing this Fishmate automatic fish feeder. I have a number of these and they all seem to have the same problem eventually. And that is that you have a new battery and everything seems to be working back here. You can hear it operating and you can see the gears turn. However, if you fill this tray with food, days may go by and you will not have any of the food make it into the fish tank. And obviously this is a problem if you're going on a trip. So I'm going to show you now how to take this apart so that you can repair it. Normally, so we'll remove this, you can tell if this needs fixing or not if you try to spin this backwards. So I'm not using a lot of force at all, just kind of pushing it. You should not turn this backwards, nor should it be easy to turn. If you made a mistake and accidentally turned this backwards, then following the procedure I'm going to show you now, hopefully you'll be able to repair this. I believe that's where most of the issues that I've had with mine came from. Just accidentally turn this backwards. What this does is it dislodges one of the gears that are in the transmission from that back mechanism that drive this whole thing. And so once that gear is dislodged, you no longer have a good traction, and so the your little ring with food does not turn. So first, gonna need to take off this little cover and note the time. So the 0 lines up with 12. So be careful not to cut yourself. This is just a sticker, so you can use something sharp and then peel it off. I'm just going to use a utility knife. Then hopefully you can see it, but there's a little, essentially a little like a locking clip here in the center. I wouldn't even call it that. I guess it's just one of these locking mechanisms that locks by spreading open. So what I would do is take a screwdriver, kind of push it under the wheel, and then using another flathead screwdriver I'm going to kind of squeeze this little locking pin that holds the wheel. Okay, and so then that pops this main wheel off. So you just lift that up and set that to the side. So what do we have here? And you can see this is the problem right now. If I turn this, you can see that moves very easily. This little gear also engages the back of this drive, but really the problem is this little piece. You can see I just removed it. So to fix it, it's really just as simple as pushing this down so that it's back in its place, and now you can see you can't really move it. So, however, there's another thing I noticed, and that is if you look from the side, hopefully it shows up well enough in the video, there's a spring here, and this spring, as you can see, is quite compressed. So there are teeth on this gear. I'm sorry, because it's all black, it's going to be very difficult to see. Let me see, just the contrast. So these little teeth bite into the equivalent on this, and if this spring is compressed enough, then you don't really have good traction. So what I'm going to do is take that spring out and stretch it out just by hand. So sorry that it's kind of hard to show this, but essentially I'm just going to just grab the portion of this pin, for better lack, and just pull it off. So show up close, so as you can see, just squeeze the top two pieces and just pull off. It's the same way I was able to remove this and this. And you can see a little bit better the teeth that are on this. So anyway, this spring, as you can see, is quite compressed. So I'm just going to pull this out a little bit. Trying to kind of keep the top and the bottom flat and even. And then I'm just going to put this back on. So once I put this back on, I can just put this right back on it as well. I'm going to go ahead and clean this with a toothbrush because there's some food and things like that that are stuck in between in these grooves. I'm going to do the same thing with this, and then I'll pause the video and then come back in a minute. So anyway, this is now clean. I cleaned this too. What I'm going to do now is put a little bit of just silicone grease on the edges here, because the spring, which right here, kind of rides on the collar. So I don't need to do a lot. This is just silicone that you can use for O-rings, basically plumbing grade, and just a little bit is all you need. This is a personal preference, I guess. I don't see any lubricant that existed here before, but because this collar of the spring rides on this, and I can see there's wear on this gear, I'm just going to put this here just to kind of smooth things out a little bit. And to reinstall it, you just press the gear back on, and now you can see the spring pushes the gear all the way up, whereas before I kind of just set at the bottom. So I'm going to check to make sure that the little gear, which is the one that actually is the main driver, is pressed. And then I'm going to, in a similar fashion, just install this. It doesn't really matter which way you install it. So, and as the final step, I just need to put the sticker back on. And remember that the 0 on the sticker lines up with number 12 on the dial. Make sure this is all clean and dry when you're reassembling it. And that's pretty much it. So now, if I try to push it backwards, if you try it hard enough, it will move, but you should, and then you'll have to take it all apart again. But anyway, you will see that this is a lot more difficult. And going forward now, it makes a nice, snappy clicking sound. So